All right, folks, buckle up for this one because if you're a parent or a grandparent, you're about to feel your blood pressure climb a notch or two. So we're going to head out west to Colorado, Jefferson County Public Schools specifically. It's a big suburban district outside of Denver, now facing a major lawsuit from parents who say the school system crossed the line on parental rights and their children's safety. And honestly, when you hear the details, you might wonder how on earth this ever got approved. So here's what happened. Last summer, a group of 11-year-olds, fifth graders, who had just finished the school year, head out on a school-sponsored trip to Philadelphia and Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. Good old-fashioned educational trip, right? Museums, monuments, kids eating too much pizza, the typical summer trip. Well, not so fast. One of the girls on the trip, the daughter of Joe and Serena Wailes, was assigned to a two-bed hotel room with several other students. Nothing unusual, but as the girls got ready for bed, she learns that her assigned bedmate is a biological male, a boy who identifies as transgender female. Not told beforehand, no parental notification, no consent, no option given to the parents to opt out, even though the school had promised boys and girls would be separated and even housed on different floors. So their daughter goes into the bathroom. She calls her mother, who's actually nearby as a chaperone, thank goodness. And I want you to imagine that moment. Your 11-year-old daughter on a school trip discovering she's expected to share a bed with a biological boy. No warning, no conversation, just this is the policy. You're going to have to deal with it. That's the kind of moment that stays with a kid. So Alliance Defending Freedom, ADF, a great group, is now representing 4 families in a lawsuit called Wailes versus Jefferson County Schools, and good for them. Their argument is very simple. It's pretty straightforward. The district's policy allows biological males to room overnight with girls based solely on gender identity. So if these young boys just get up and one morning and they think, I feel like a girl today, then they can actually sleep with a girl, a biological girl, on a field trip. Parents aren't told. Parents cannot opt out. And the kids are being placed in situations that violate basic privacy, religious convictions, and just common sense safety. ADF says this policy violates parental rights under the Constitution, specifically the right of parents to direct the upbringing and education of their children, not to mention their safety. And they're pointing out something that I think many Americans agree on, regardless of your politics. An 11-year-old girl should not be forced to share a bed with a biological male, period. End of sentence, full stop. You don't need a law degree. You don't need a theological background. You just need a little common sense in this case. Now, here's where it gets even more concerning. And this wasn't evidently an isolated moment. ADF cites multiple other incidents where the district assigned adults or students to cabins, camps, and rooming arrangements based on gender identity, not biological sex, without telling the parents. Let me give you an example. A family sends their 11-year-old boy to a school-run camp. They're told his counselor will be male. But later, they learned the counselor was a biological female adult who identifies as non-binary, and this person was supervising the boys during showers. Now, folks, imagine learning that after the fact, that you never were warned about this as a parent. You'd be furious, right? Rightfully so, you would be. Jefferson County Public Schools has a written policy. Students can be assigned to overnight accommodations, again, based on gender identity, whatever that little boy or girl wakes up identifying that day. But here's what the policy doesn't include. And this is what is really the crime here. It doesn't include parental notification, parental consent, opt-out options, sex-based alternatives. ADF says the district claims to freely grant accommodations to all students, except apparently to students who want privacy based on religious beliefs or biological sex. ADF puts it plainly. Parents, not government bureaucrats, have the right to protect their children's privacy. This is the heart of it. Parents today aren't asking for special privileges. They're asking to be in the room when decisions about their kids are made, especially overnight, behind closed doors across state lines. It's just that simple. And here's the bigger picture. This isn't just a Colorado issue. School districts around the country have quietly adopted very similar policies, sometimes with outside pressure, sometimes from misinterpretations of federal Title IX guidelines, and sometimes because local administrators and school boards fear backlash, and sometimes because local administrators fear backlash if they don't comply with the activist left's demands. But at the end of the day, this isn't about politics. It's about privacy. It's about parental authority. If parents aren't told who is sleeping in the same bed as their child, especially an 11-year-old, if they're not told who supervises their child in a cabin or locker room, especially an 11-year-old, if they're unable to opt out because they don't know what's happening, that's not a school policy. That's government replacing parents. And as we say here often, when government steps in to raise kids, somebody's values fill the vacuum, and it's usually not going to be yours. The case is now in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit. It will set precedent, not just for Colorado, but likely for the entire Mountain West. And the court will have to answer a simple question. Do parents lose their rights at the schoolhouse door? ADF and the parents involved in these cases say no. These families say no. And frankly, most Americans, left, right, or center, instinctively say no, because this isn't about rejecting anyone's existence. It's about protecting children, all children, from being put in compromised, confusing, and unnecessary situations. Privacy is not bigotry. Privacy is not discriminating against someone. Parental rights are not discrimination. Common sense isn't cruelty. Look, this is one of those stories that gets to the heart of what is wrong with so many different situations in our country today, to the heart of what so many parents tell me here in the upstate, that they don't trust school systems anymore because too many have stopped partnering with parents and instead started working around them. They think they're smarter than the parents and they know what's better for their kids. If some schools can hide room assignments from parents today, what else will they hide tomorrow?